guys, welcome back to Susie on the Farm. I'm Susie if you're new here, and I want to thank you so much for joining me today. In today's video, we're doing some fun thrift store makeovers with the new DIY paint Cottage Colors. I can't wait to show you guys, and I hope you enjoy it. So let's go ahead and get started. For my first project, I'm going to do a simple rolling pin, and I'm going to paint this in with Fusion plaster, not to be confused with the new DIY Cottage Color plaster, which is much lighter and beautiful. But I don't want to open this can because as a small business owner, we have to order these things pretty far in advance, and sometimes you just don't know how much to order, and if I open that can, I can't sell it to you all, so I'm trying to be a little thrifty at least until I can get my second order of the Cottage Colors in. So I'm giving this 2 coats of the Fusion plaster. And you ever just think about a stamp you haven't used in a long time and you're like, I just got to use that stamp? This is Rural Scenes, and I think it's actually retired now, but I still do have a few if you're wanting to get one of these. It's like this English countryside toile, and I'm just going to roll the rolling pin over it. I've done this a few times, and I've also watched Zeb Ray do it 1,000 times, and it's so easy to do. I don't know how far it's going to come down. I'm using IOD black ink, and I went ahead and went all the way to bottom with it because, like I said, I don't know how far it's going to come down, and then I'm just going to roll it over. But as you can see, there's a giant empty spot where it did not transfer in the middle of the rolling pin. That's okay. We can just wipe off the ink. It's still wet. I'm going to wipe it off. I'm going to do a quick coat of paint over it just to make sure there's no shadowing of the ink, and I'm going to try it again. This time I do know about how far it's going to come down, so I only ink down that far, and here I go. I'm going to roll it again, and I pushed a little harder towards the middle, and it was a little bit better, but still a big bald spot there in the middle. I'm going to try one more time. I went to the other side of my table thinking there was just a hump that was causing it, and again the same exact thing. Like I said, I've done this many times. I know it works, so logically, the rolling pin must be warped. So I had to move on to plan B, but don't worry, I'm definitely going to use that Rural Scene. But instead, I'm going to use this cute daisy transfer from the Lover of Flowers transfer booklet. And it has this big bunch of daisies and a sweet little poem to go with it. I'm putting the daisies on off to the side so I can add the wording in around it. I was just going to put this one part of the wording, but I do go back in and add the rest of the poem in later. But first, I am putting this transfer on, and then I'm going to use the new DIY Cottage Color in the color Honey. It's this rich, gorgeous yellow, and I am so in love with it. Be sure when you use your Cottage Colors paint, they do have a built-in sealer, and that will separate. So you need to stir them really well every time you use them to make sure that your sealer is evenly spread throughout the paint. And I did 2 coats of the Cottage Color on the handles, and here I am putting the other part of the poem on the empty part on the thing, and that's all I had to do to this one, other than I did seal up the transfer with some clear wax. So even though I didn't get to use the stamp that I wanted to use, this still turned out super cute, and I'm going to use the stamp in another project. For my next project, I picked up this carrying crate, and it was cute, but I've had it a while. It hasn't sold. I think it was actually for beer bottles, but I'm going to turn it into more of a milk crate. So to start with, I'm removing the hardware. I'm taking that handle off. I'm going to reuse it, but I am going to remove the bottle opener. I'm not going to need that. But so to fill in these holes pretty quickly, I'm just going to use a little bit of air dry clay and let that dry. And I'm going to use the gorgeous honey color again. This is a beautiful color, and I'm going to paint the whole crate. I ended up doing 2 coats on the whole thing. And this probably would have been easier to spray paint, but I don't like spray painting. I don't like cleaning it, so I don't mind using a brush to get into all these little details. And I said I was going to use the rule scenes again, and here we are, and I placed it kind of how I thought it would look nice. I got the cow, the little cabin, and some trees, and I'm going to use IOD ink in the color Stone Gray. It looks like you're not even putting anything on when you put it on there, but it does do a very faint light impression. And I do like that about this ink color. To apply the stamp, I just lay it where I want it. I hold one hand in place and I use my fingers on the other hand to go over every little image of the stamp. And as you can see, this did a faint but a very good impression. Sorry for the glare there. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to turn over and do another little scene on the other side of this tote. Again, holding my hand in place and stamping. I did see a little like naked spot there, so I took a little transfer. And now I'm going to take them off of the backing and use a thin mount and just put a few small transfers on the front and the back. Then I will replace everything sealed. This ink is permanent. The paint has a built-in sealer, but I do like to finish things off, and I probably get this little detail coming from the junk journaling, you know, ink the edges, ink the edges. So I actually went ahead and got one of my little blending tools for that, and I just went over all the edges around the yellow paint just to ink them up, make it look really antique and old. And I had 3 milk bottles that fit perfectly in this. I put the handle back on, and it's turned out super cute. I hope y'all have enjoyed this thrift store makeover. Also had to start using a new video editing software, so you might see a few different elements, and I am learning this. So for the next project, I just have this. This was just in my stash. It was basically a blank. Someone had wrote on there. I think it was with a marker. It wasn't raised, but just to be sure, I sanded it down, and now I'm going to use Veranda. And I was just going to use 2 of the Cottage Colors, but by the end of this video, you will see that I had to add one more. So I ended up using 3. But for this wood sign, I'm going to use this gorgeous dusty pink color called Veranda. It's me again. I wanted to jump on here real quick to tell you guys about something that I have been working on this week. So as you know, I've been selling on Whatnot for a few months now, and it was really hard to keep up my online inventory while I was selling on Whatnot, trying to, you know, make sure that I didn't sell something that was on the website and then getting it down if I did. So I really just quit adding things onto the website for a while in the home decor section. I really wanted to get back to that, and I've been in the groove of Whatnot now for a few months, so I know what I can sell there and what I can't, what's easier to ship. And on my website, now I know what in the store I can list on the website. So I have spent all week, I'm not done yet, but I have over 100 items listed in the home decor section on my website. Be sure you go check that out. I know a lot of you have been commenting, either you don't want to get on Whatnot or you don't have Whatnot, you still want to be able to buy my finds and my thrift store makeovers. So check those out. There's a bunch of them there. And also, I decided while I was at it, why not give you guys what I have here in the store that are good sellers here in the store. So I've added the skinny syrup mixes. Those are so good. We use them, and I use it in all my coffee. The kids use it in their waters. I even put the peach in my tea, and it is so delicious. So check those out. I also added Country Home Creations. Y'all, these are the best spice dip mixes and all kinds of different things, and I put all the nutrition facts on the website so you can check out and see what's in them, and I promise you're gonna love them. So thank y'all, and if you want to check that out, that's susieonthefarm.com. Now let's go get back to these projects. So I did 2 coats of veranda, and I am determined to get through all of my scrap transfers. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't in the pack. I think this one is a piece of botanist journal. I'll make sure, but I do think it is, and I think I have a couple available on the website. But the transfers are super easy. They're just as easy as Fusion because this Cottage Color paint has that built-in sealer. As long as you let it dry really well, these transfers go on like a dream. This was a super easy project. I then took a piece of sandpaper, I roughed up the transfer and the wood a little bit, did a little distressing on that, and now I'm going to seal it with some clear wax. And did you know that Fusion has scented waxes? I've used them before, and they are on my website, but there's the lavender one, and there is also a Hills of Tuscany, and they both smell great. Those are great for furniture projects that kind of have a musty smell. Really helps with that, and I enjoy using them. But other than that, it's just a clear wax. This one turned out so pretty. I love this pink color. You guys let me know what you think about these colors in the comments. Project number 4 is just this wood tray, crate, box. I'm not sure what you want to call it. I'm doing all wood projects in today's video. And this, y'all know I was going to have to use garden sage. This is a beautiful green, and green is my favorite color. Any shade, any kind of green I love. So I'm going to do 2 coats inside and out of this entire crate. And I was cleaning and organizing my craft room, and I found a whole set of stencils that I have never used. And I'm really into the whole mercantile and general store look lately, so I've been doing a lot of that. And I gotta be honest, I never stencil normally, but again, I've seen Zeb Ray do it many times, so I know it works. And I know that you start with not a lot of paint on your brush. So I offloaded most of my paint, and I don't even have a stencil brush. I just used a small soft bristle brush that I have, stenciled it on, and I think it came out pretty good. I dried it with my heat gun, and now I'm going to distress the box and the paint. I'm going to let that dry, and then I'm going to turn it over and do another part of that same transfer on the back side. Once I got it lined up, I did the same thing on the back side, except for I had to do that family-owned, dry it, and then add some more below it. I'm using DIY weathered wood. This is a clay-based paint, so it will need to be sealed once I get everything like I want it. I went through, I distressed everything really good again, and I'm using the same lavender clear wax that I've used before. And now we have this cute little mercantile box, and I love this green. I bought a bathroom cabinet, wicker cabinet, and I've decided I'm going to use this color on it. For today's last project, I was so excited that I found this primitive wood recipe box at a thrift store a couple weeks ago. It's seen better days. The wood's pretty scratched and banged up, but that's okay. We're going to keep the primitive look. I am going to paint this thing with 2 coats. I'm going to leave the inside, and I'm going to paint the 2 coats of this garden sage. after my 2 coats are dry, I'm coming back in with some 220 grit sandpaper, and I'm just going to distress all the edges, bring back a lot of that dark primitive wood from underneath there. And to highlight the recipe just a little bit, I'm going to use some aging wax. I'm going to put it on it just over the recipes. I don't want to change the color of the paint, but this paint does have that built-in sealer, so I can wipe back as much as I want to. But I want some of this to stay down in the recipes. I left it on for a few minutes, and then I just wiped back what I could and leaving as much of the wax down in the letters. More came off than I wanted to, but I actually kind of like that look because, like I said, now this looks like this has been in Grandma's kitchen for 20 or 30 years. And honestly, that would probably really be dirt in there. So look at this gorgeous color. I love this little box. And all of the thrift store makeovers that I have made in this video are available on my website now. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope that you have enjoyed these makeovers. I'm going to let you see all the afters again, and I'll see you again next week.